Chinese toys blamed for the death of 7 children. The U.S. Consumer Protection Authority warning parents to immediately dispose of the play sets. Overwhelmed crematoriums and underreporting of COVID-19. First-hand accounts from residents in China's Henan province, calling attention to the plight the country is facing. A new law sending chills through universities in Florida, banning them from partnering with China. A look at the growing controversy. And a U.S. senator calling on President Biden to sanction a chip designer serving the Chinese military. At the same time, China is halting all tech exports tied to rare earth. What do you think? Let us know below and subscribe if you haven't already. Welcome to China in Focus. I'm Tiffany Meyer. Chinese-made toys blamed for the deaths of 7 children. The U.S. Consumer Protection Authority is warning people to immediately stop using toy magnetic ball sets made by Chinese seller Doraemon. The guidance instructs parents to take the toys away from their kids and dispose of them. In a Thursday statement, the agency said 2,400 children who swallowed magnets from the toy set needed treatment from hospitals from 2017 through 2021. Of them, 7 died. 5 of them were from the United States. Here's the main danger. Magnets used in the toy set can come loose, and small children could swallow them. The statement explains that when magnets are swallowed, they can attach to each other or to another metal object and become lodged in the digestive system. The regulator also found that the magnets used in the toys are stronger than safety limits allow, making it even more dangerous. The statement showed the toys were sold exclusively online through Amazon for about $25. The sets came in a clear plastic case inside a portable tin storage box. The regulator said it issued a violation notice to Chinese seller Doraemon. The seller has not agreed to recall the magnetic ball sets or offer a remedy to consumers. Waves of infection are plaguing China. Residents from the northern Henan province told us about the situation on the ground. They say the medical system has been ordered to avoid reporting deaths as caused by COVID-19. To protect their identities, we gave the residents pseudonyms, distorted their voices. Take a listen.
This wave of virus has claimed many lives, and the crematorium cannot keep up. It operates continuously, day and night. It has 8 cremation furnaces, and 24 hours a day, there are people working there.
He explained that hospitals in the area typically attribute these deaths to underlying health conditions. He noted that many older people in the area did have underlying conditions like high blood pressure or diabetes, but went on to say their conditions were stable with help from medications. That changed after getting affected by China's current outbreak. He said that's when their conditions declined quickly and many couldn't be saved.
Now in the medical system, they don't let you say that the deaths are related to COVID-19. The day before yesterday, a friend's father in his 70s passed away. The hospital said his death was due to underlying health conditions. That's the official narrative now.
A resident from another city in Henan province told us his uncle passed away after getting affected. And that's despite getting vaccinated with a dose produced in China.
Every hospital is packed with people, and there are numerous cases of the so-called white lung syndrome. My uncle had white lung. There are also many with it in his hospital. Some were discharged from the hospital even without being fully recovered.
White lung refers to a symptom of pneumonia that shows up on X-rays. It appears when a patient's lungs get infected. It's a common symptom seen in China's most recent outbreaks. This wave began spreading in China in September and has swept across the country. The Chinese Communist Party blames the outbreak on influenza and mycoplasma pneumonia, while downplaying COVID-19.
A Florida law is sparking controversy in academia. The law bans state universities from taking grants from China plus 6 other countries. It also prohibits state colleges from partnering with college or entities from these countries, meaning even though Floridian universities can admit students from those countries, they can't hire them to do research projects. unless they get waivers from the state's top higher education body. The biggest share of Florida's international students comes from China. The law affects 12 public colleges and universities in the state. They're still working out policies to conform to the new statute. The University of Florida has suspended hiring graduate and PhD students from these countries, though the move has already faced pushback. Over 300 faculty members wrote a letter to the university's president, urging him to continue hiring talent regardless of where they come from. State lawmakers say the rule aims to prevent Beijing from spreading influence on Florida's campuses. Chinese money has long been flowing into America's higher education system. In 2020, several top universities, including Yale and Cornell, were found to have failed to report over $3 billion in foreign gifts. Many of those donations came from China and Qatar. Now, a deeper dive into the growing controversy on Florida's campuses. On the one hand, Chinese students and faculty members report fears of discrimination. On the other, authorities are doubling down on rooting out Beijing's efforts to steal American know-how. Joining us to discuss the nuances is Andrew Thornebrooke, national security correspondent for the Epoch Times. Andrew Thornebrooke, thank you so much for joining us. Great to have you back on the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Tiffany. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, a new Florida law is sending a chill down some professors' spines. That's because under the new law, they're not sure if they're allowed to give out paid research positions to students from China and 6 other countries of concern. What challenges do you see in enforcing this law?
So the law was really passed to try to confront this malign influence we've seen proliferate through our universities from the Chinese Communist Party. We've seen with, organizations like the Confucius Institute, which is funded in part by a propaganda department of the Chinese Communist Party to sort of promote pro-CCP talking points in the guise of cultural exchange. And so the law really comes from a place of wanting to protect against that. The problem is that the Chinese Communist Party explicitly targets ethnic Chinese, right? That's one aspect of this. And in trying to understand that and counter it, we've sort of opened up this can of worms where we might create laws that inadvertently harm innocent Chinese people or prevent them from having opportunities here.
And given that, because there are concerns of universities, not just with the Confucius Institute programs, but also getting funding from China, sparking concerns that now the universities will self-censor to continue getting that money. When it comes to China and China's influence, what do you think needs to be done going forward?
We, of course, need to be on the lookout for how the regime uses our open system and our willingness to do research with international partners for its own benefit. We need to be on the watch out for that, but we can't give in and try to just wholesale shut ourselves off or prevent people from coming here who want to do good research and want to involve themselves with America, right? Just because of the place they came from. That's not their fault. They don't deserve to have that opportunity taken. So that's something, a balancing act that we're just going to have to really struggle with in the years to come.
Andrew Thornebrooke, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much for having me.
Senator Marco Rubio is urging the Biden administration to blacklist another Chinese microchip firm. Chip designer Bright Semiconductor has been found to be part owned by Chinese chipmaker SMIC, a company sanctioned by the U.S. Bright Semiconductor also designs chips for at least 6 Chinese military suppliers, all while maintaining U.S. investment and without violating any export regulations set by Washington. NTD's Jeremy Sandberg has more on the senator's call to action.
Bright Semiconductor's second largest shareholder and number 1 supplier, microchip maker SMIC, was added to the U.S. entity list by the Trump administration in 2020. The corporation is barred from importing some advanced AI chips from U.S. suppliers over its apparent ties to Beijing's military. But despite that, Bright still has access to U.S. investors and technology. That includes software from American firms like Synopsys and Cadence Design. A Reuters examination of Bright firm statements, regulatory filings, tenders, and other means found that Bright offers services to at least 6 Chinese military suppliers. Senator Marco Rubio says it shows the U.S.'s current export control scheme doesn't work. The GOP lawmaker urged Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo in a letter on Wednesday to hit Bright with the same restrictions imposed on SMIC, saying swift action is needed now to stop China's chip industrial base from growing stronger. Rubio is also calling for more restrictions on shipments of chip design software to China. Concern over Bright is rising on both sides of the aisle. Democratic Senator Bob Casey points to access to U.S. investors. Silicon Valley-based Norwest Venture Partners has roughly a 13% stake in Bright, largely backed by Wells Fargo, the fourth largest bank in the U.S. Congressman Mike Gallagher, chair of the House Select Committee on the CCP, is also asking the Commerce Department to do more to prevent U.S. technology flowing into China's military. The Reuters report found no evidence that Bright or its U.S. suppliers had violated any U.S. export laws. And Bright might soon access a wider range of investors. The Shanghai Stock Exchange gave the green light this week for Bright to make an initial public offering after delaying its bid to go public over its relationship with SMIC. Jeremy Sandberg, NTD News.
A step up in U.S.-China trade tensions, the world's top processor of rare earths says it won't share its technology with other countries. On Thursday, China's Commerce and Technology departments announced a ban on exporting critical technologies tied to processing rare earths. The decision cited national security concerns. The ban will cover technology in almost every step of the refining process: mining, extracting, smelting, and separating the strategic metals. Rare earth metals are critical for both civil and military use, from making weapons and warships to smartphones and electric cars. And China's new restriction specifically targets technology linked to the electrical and aeronautical industries. At the same time, the White House is eyeing ways to cull Chinese electric vehicles from the U.S. market. The Wall Street Journal reported on Thursday that Biden administration officials are in talks over raising more tariffs on certain Chinese imports. Chinese EVs, EV batteries, and solar products are all on their radar. Experts say cheap exports from China have been hurting America's auto industry. Former President Trump imposed tariffs on Chinese goods worth nearly $300 billion. Now President Biden is looking to hike up those fees in order to protect American brands. Next, we'd like to take a moment to share some of your comments about yesterday's show. CK wrote in, China is a large creature that is infected and is dying a slow death. For it to survive, it will have to change its attitude like the USSR, the Soviet Union, to Russia. Don't forget to tell us what you think of today's show, or if you have an idea for something you'd like to see us cover. Send us an email at chinainfocus@ntd.com. That's all for today's China in Focus on YouTube. We're now sharing a shortened version of our program here after being demonetized for more than 2 years. If you'd like to support us, subscribe to our partner platform, Epic TV, where you can watch our full episodes, or consider donating. Find us at donorbox.org/China-in-focus. Here's what's coming up in our second half. The U.S. is starting to renew a controversial deal with China, while some lawmakers say the deal helps Beijing to advance its military. U.S. intelligence report zeroes in on Chinese meddling in U.S. elections. An expert breaks it down. Top-level military talks between the U.S. and China resume after over a year of radio silence. America's top general says it's critical to avoiding war. And over $200 billion in trade exchanged during wartime. China has reaped significant gains from the Russian market this year. Find out what's bringing the profits. Thanks for watching China in Focus. I'm Tiffany Meyer. See you tomorrow.